Hello, 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 everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Miss Justice, you're number one, girl. Number one. Much love, PG. Much love to you, girl. God bless. Number one in here tonight. And Linda. All right. Hello, PG. Hello to you. Good to see you. Good to see you in here tonight. And let me see who else. You're number two, girl. Number two. Number three is Caroline. All right. Caroline is number three. Hello, PG. Much love. Glad you made it. Hello, chat mods. Summer's Army. Amen. Absolutely. I appreciate that. Beautiful. She's a PGOA. PGOA. I love that girl. I love it. God bless. Number three tonight. And let's see who is number four. Oh, that is beautiful. I appreciate the Purple Hearts for summer. God bless. Oh, thank you, Miss Justice. Yes, absolutely. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. God bless. It helps the channel, keeps the kids out here. And Linda, you are number four. Number four out in here tonight. Hello, Miss Justice 1111. Hello to you, Linda. God bless and much love. Hey, Robin, how you doing? Good to see you. Texas Blue. There's D. Little Annie. That's cute. That's cute. Patty Ponytail, how you doing, sweetie? Oh, I hope I say this right. Nella. Good to see you. Angel P. Jane. Harley Davidson, how you doing tonight? Good to see you. Jersey. I got two Janes in here. How you doing, sweetie? Good to see you. Bridget. There's Karen. Spread love. I'm heading to the bottom. Hey, Rhonda. How you doing, sweetie? Teresa. CJ. Lisa. I'm finally to the bottom. I'm to the bottom, you guys. You guys excuse me tonight, you guys. I am super, super tired. You probably tell by my voice. Hey, Starbucks, how you doing? Oh my gosh. Hello, PG. I've missed you. I missed you guys too, girl. You know it. Hey, Kathy, how you doing, sweetie? Good to see everybody in here. Good to see y'all. Absolutely. Legendary. There you are, girl. Good to see you. Amen, family. Let me see. Legendary said, hey, everyone. I call him Wildfire. Hey, hello, girl. How you doing tonight? Good to see you. Angel from Heaven, too. There you are. Good to see you. Amen. Absolutely. Absolutely. Prayers for Miss Norway. Prayers for a lot of people, you guys. Prayers for a lot of people. Um, Tiffany Marie's son, I hear, passed away. Our condolences. Our condolences to her and her family. Absolutely. Sorry to hear that. Very sorry to hear that. I just pray that somehow, some way, God lets her find some peace in all of this. That's very traumatic, you guys. Very, very traumatic. And yeah, that's a mother's worst nightmare, right? Mother's worst nightmare. So send some prayers up. send some prayers up for Tiffany during her, this trying time. Send some prayers up. And Cam's in the hospital again, to my understandings. And he hasn't been doing real well, you guys. I know that out here we have our differences with one another. But, at the end of the day, regardless to what our differences are, we are a family. We're an overall community for missing children. And we got to set all differences aside sometimes and do what's righteous in the sight of God, right? Do what's right in the sight of God and pray for these people needing our prayers. And they definitely need our prayers. For sure. They need our prayers. And I would very much appreciate, all of us praying for them. I pray that, that God just sends his angels to do what they can to help these people on this earth, right? To help them get past the grief, to help them heal from whatever's troubling them. Everything, God is in control. God is in control. And he does what's best. He does what's best for the person, for our loved ones. He does what's best for them. Not for us, but for them. And that's the truth. If God takes somebody out of this world, it's because this world wasn't good enough for them no more. They were just, tired, worn out. Their work was done. Their work was done on this earth. And God, takes them home. If you want to see them if you want to see them again, you have to be, you have to be a good person. You have to, you have to do what God's will instead of our own. And you have to be a good person to make it to the next life, to be with your loved ones forever. Sometimes I think God takes our loved ones so we'll work a little harder. So we'll work a little harder down here to do his will instead of ours. We'll work a little harder to get on the righteous path so we can be with people we love again someday. Sometimes that's God's plan, is, to not only take all the pain and the suffering, the tears away from our loved one by taking them home, but to also make us better people, wanting to see them again one day. It's like getting two birds with one stone, right? But I'm very sorry to hear about all the tragedy that's been going on out here. I also understand there was another child, a little boy, came up missing. It ended tragically, right? It ended very tragically. They found him. I guess the dad of the little boy had stuff on his property he wasn't supposed to have. So they arrested the dad, right? And I heard that Dolly, I guess Dolly was out there trying to, help locate the little boy. And got some bad feedback or something from the dad, from the family, not wanting, not wanting people around. Um, so, you know, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at, at the people who, a lot of people got a lot of dark stuff hiding in their closets. That's, in my opinion, the little boy who just recently passed away, they found with the dad that, had all that weird stuff on his property. I don't know why, but he did. Um, there's something not right there, right? There was something not right there. And I guess Dolly had seen his brother coming out of the woods with long and, got it mixed up for the child that was missing. And I could see how that happened. I could definitely understand that. So, but when people are turning away help, when they're, somebody's got a missing child and they're turning away help, they've got something to hide, just like that dad had something to hide. I believe the Wells have something to hide, because if you ain't got nothing to hide, you're going to appreciate all the help you can get. You're going to appreciate all the support you can get, because during a time like that, you need all the support you could get. You need all that help. You just need it, right? That during times like that, you don't want to be alone. Those are times you just don't want to be alone in it. And so if people ain't reaching out and they're not accepting the help that's coming at them, you got to look behind them and say, why? What darkness is in the closet that they ain't wanting, the door open to? That's what you got to ask. Hey, sweetie, just chilling. How you doing? Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. I tell you, I did a lot of traveling. Um, a lot. PG had spent a lot of time traveling, right? I'm finally back. I'm back home. Um, back to my own surroundings. Um, Ronald was kind enough to come back with us and to, you know, actually he came back to hang out with my husband and the uncles, but he just came to visit. And he's I think he's going to be going back the end of the week. The end of the week, he's going to, going to be heading home. But it's great having him. It's great having him. It's fun. I was just trying to, you know, it's hard. It's rough, you guys. It's rough traveling when when you're big as a house, right? You're big as a house. It's not easy traveling. Um, it's hard getting in the car. It's hard getting out, right? Nothing easy about it. And I did hours of traveling, and I'm tired. Right? I'm tired. No, no, I have not had the baby yet. I have not had the baby yet. Um, any day now. Any day, you guys. Um, And you'll be, like I said, when I do, you'll be the first to know. You'll be the first to know. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, I didn't appreciate Jody Sue. Jody Sue decided to have a live, right? And she decided to talk about, my baby. Jody Sue, mind your own damn business. I think you would do good to take care of your own child, seeing that you lived right across the road from Summer Moon Utah Wells, who came up missing, right? And you lied about a scream. You lied about the scream. You've been doing nothing but lying about God only knows that practically everything comes out of your mouth is a lie. And I think you I think you need to focus your time and energy towards your own family, right? You got a son that took out of there, doesn't really want to ever come back, probably. You got a daughter that you're not allowing to really have no communication with no one. It's one thing to homeschool and take your children to meet up places with other homeschooling children and let your child out in the community to actually, you know, learn how to socialize with the other children. Your kid's supposed to have friends. They're supposed to have friends in your community. They're supposed to, meet up with other homeschooling children and, learn to socialize. Your child don't seem to be learning any of that. You're like isolation for this kid that has a life, and one day is going to be out there not knowing how to conduct herself, more than likely, because you're not letting it get no socialization with other human beings. And you're one to talk about someone else's child, right? You're one to talk. What you need to do is mind your own damn business. Just saying. Mind your own damn business. Don't be minding mine. Okay? Yeah, I agree. She is. She is, you know, she's not only evil, she's weird. She's weird along with it, right? I mean, she has no business worrying about nobody's kids when she's on freaking YouTube 24/7. Who's taking care of her kid? Right? Who's taking care of her kid? That's what she needs to be focusing on. It sounds like her kid's growing up without a dad and without a mom. Dad's gone, mom's on social media 24/7. What kind of life is that for a kid? Just saying. But stay out of my business. I stay out of hers, right? That shit goes two ways. That's a two-way street out there. You want to talk about somebody else's family, then don't be getting all, upset when somebody's talking about yours. I don't think her daughter's 18, because her daughter was, when Summer went missing, I think her daughter was just a little older than Summer. I think her daughter, when Summer went missing, her daughter was, not very old. So her daughter's got to be like maybe 14, 15 right now. She's a teenager. Teenagers need their parents more than ever. I think during your teenage years is when you need your parents the most, right? When you're little, when you're little, you can't get into a lot of stuff. It's not that hard to watch, you know, a grade school child. It's not really that hard to watch a middle school child. But when that kid starts into high school, it needs you more than ever. Them teen years are very rough. And that is the time when, your child needs to be able to come to you and tell you a lot of things so you can help it, you can help it through. Teenage years are not easy. They're, you think they're going to last forever. They can be the most traumatic time of a child's life. Then teenage years seem to stick with people more than any other time of their life. Childhood don't stick with children as much as teenage years. Young adulthood don't stick with people as much as them teenage years. For some reason, those teenage years, man, they are as fresh in your mind today as they was when you were living it. You know, so you really need to be there for your kids and grandkids, great grandkids. You got to be there for them during those traumatic years. Um, you know, when when you think everything counts, right? Like in your teenage years, you think everything counts. Everything's a big deal. And you don't find out that it wasn't a big deal, until you're older. But I guess the tragedy of it all doesn't ever leave you. And it's hard. It's a very hard time. So Jody Sue might think about, getting the hell off of you two and out of other people's business and start paying some attention to her teenage daughter who needs her the most right now, right? That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. I'm not on YouTube all the time. I spend all day working and taking care of my family, and and all evening taking care of my family. And I come in here, I come in here at the end of the day to help, try to figure out what happened to the missing. And then, I get off of here, make sure everything, is all good and well with my family, and I call it a day. But I ain't no way I'd wake up doing this and do it all day long, when I got all these people dependent on me. Even if I just have one child dependent on me, I'm not going to be doing that. So it is what it is. I mean, common sense tells you, that you got to take care of your family first, and then, do everything else. Oh, wow. That is amazing, girl. That is amazing. Congratulations. Congratulations on your grandbaby. Absolutely. A granddaughter. Wow. That is amazing. And you help paint the room pink. Amen. Yeah. It's so sad that Summer, you know, she didn't ever get to know what it's like to have that beautiful, you know, pink and white bedroom and that beautiful, twin beds and the little makeup table and all the, she just Summer don't know what it's like to have a closet full of clothes, and Summer didn't know what it was like just to have someone hug her and let her know they loved her unconditionally, right? Unconditionally. And just read to her, tell her how smart she was, how beautiful she was, how glad they was that she had such a kind, caring, and loving heart. She didn't have nobody there to tell her she's full of light and love and kindness, and that they feel so blessed to have a beautiful child like her. She didn't hear them words. She didn't know those words. I don't think any of those kids did, to be honest. I don't think any of them ever heard those words. I don't think any of them ever had a private space for themselves. You know, I don't think the boys ever had a private room where they could keep, their baseballs and their footballs and their trophies and, you know, all the stuff that kids like to collect. Summer didn't know what it was like to have, that room with all of her baby dolls and her dollhouse and all of her things in it. Her hairbreadths, her little hairbrush and comb, and she didn't get to ever experience that. Summer, Summer looked up to Robin because Robin's daughter was always dressed the way Summer wanted to be dressed. Robin's daughter's hair was always fixed and looking beautiful the way Summer wanted her hair to look. Summer admired the way Robin took care of her daughter. She admired the way that Robin spoke to her daughter with love and kindness and caring, like a real mother does. Summer was seeking to try and have some of that, even if it was for a short time during church. She was trying to just have some of those kind words instilled in her to make her feel good enough to be able to continue taking the abuse that she was going through. That's my opinion, because that's how it works for abused kids. Abused children really hang on to kind words. You take a normal kid that, is loved and cared about at home and, really taken well care of at home. Those words might not mean much. I mean, I'm sure they are appreciated. No doubt in my mind, kind words are always appreciated no matter who they're said to. But an abused child, one that don't get none of that, they hang on to it like it's gold. They remember it. You know, they put it in their pocket. They put it in their pocket and they keep it because that's what helps them get through and try to survive all of the abuse. You don't know how much it means to them unless you were one of these children. You know, abused kids understand how much it means. Abused children know how rare and valuable kindness is. And they don't ever forget the kind people. It sticks with them for life because they needed that to survive. That's why it's important to always be good to children. Always be good to them. And it also pays to be good to children because that child might end up being your doctor, might end up being your dentist, might end up being your pharmacist. It might end up being your postman who seen you didn't get the mail and got you the help you needed. That child in the future, you don't know what they're going to end up being. And you're going to be one day looking in the face of an adult. A child ain't going to be a child forever. It's going to grow up. And you're going to be looking in the face of an adult. And they're going to remember if you were kind or if you were evil. They're going to remember that. But Jacob from the other channel said somebody who got lent $2,000 for a baby. I don't know. Who are you talking about, David? Who got lent $2,000 for a baby? Yeah, who is Jacob? I don't even know who Jacob is. Hey, little Annie, how you doing? Yeah, I don't even know. Absolutely, Bridget. Good always wins. I don't know who Jacob is. I don't even know what he's talking about. Um, But Jacob from another channel said, that she lent you over 2,000 for your baby. Then the cat got out. What cat got out? And Jacob is a guy's name, not a girl's name. It don't make no sense. Jacob from the other channel said that she. I like to know. I like to know. My question is why does she got a man's name? How the hell's her name Jacob if it's a girl? Explain that. It was Jacob from the last subscription. I guess he's the one who gives out the cough drops. I don't even know. Okay, so who did he give $2,000 to? Who did he supposedly give $2,000 to? Because I didn't get no 2,000. And the only other one talking about a baby in here is the lady that just had a grandchild. So who did he give $2,000 to? Hey Lori, how you doing, sweetie? Oh God, I don't even know. I don't even know, you guys. It gets like crazy out here. What happened to David? Because I'm interested in knowing who in the hell got $2,000 for their baby. Actually, he said over $2,000. Apparently, they have a reward for the missing cat too. That Jacob is always up to something. Huh? No, don't block him. He's quite interesting, to be honest. He is quite interesting. David, David. No, don't block David. Let David stay. I like to hear more. I like to hear more what David has to say. Right? Oh God. Well, I'm going to tell you, David, you go back and you tell Jacob that You go back and tell whoever Jacob is that I don't know if that 2000 was supposed to be lent up to PG, you go tell him that he needs to send it. Come over here. Tell him to come over here because I've got um super stickers and super chat, and we all know that nobody has gave us that. I mean, if Jacob would have gave us that kind of dough, we don't know it. We don't know it, right? Because I don't have Cash Apps, I don't have Venmos, I don't have PayPals, right? So the only way Jacob would have been able to give PG that money would have been through super chat or super sticker. So you tell Jacob to get on over here and, give up what he's trying to lie about doing, right? Because, honey, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that super chat or super sticker. I'd like to see it tonight. Matter of fact, call Jacob and wake him up. Tell him we're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting for that to show up over here. I promise you, I'm tired, but I will jump up and do one hell of a freaking happy dance if old Jacob shows up with that $2,000, right? I'd do it. Man, that'll wake PG up. That'll wake me up. Yeah. I'd be to the left, to the left, to the right, right? I'm gonna be shaking it. I don't care how. I'm gonna tell you one. My milkshake gonna bring all the boys to the yard. Right? Yeah, wake up Jacob. Wake him up. Right? Wake him up. Shit. I can't wait. Come on, Jacob. Right, come on. Heck yeah, I do the Trump dance. Right? I be doing the Trump. I be doing the Carlton. Baby, I be doing it all. I be doing it all. I be shake, rattle, and roll. Hey, I be breaking down a new dance. Right? I be breaking down a new dance. I be breaking down the Jacob 2000. That's what we call that dance, the Jacob 2000 for real. Right? Heck yeah. I would tell you, that probably throw me into labor. Right? That'd throw PG into labor. Bring Jacob on over here. That's some funny stuff right there. Anyway, I wanted to come in and talk about some stuff in Summer's case. I really wanted to come in and see you guys. That's what I wanted. I wanted to come in and see you guys. I wanted to hang out with you for a while. Just chit chat, hang out, you know. I'm always sticking to business, right? I always stick to business. 4.5 years. I always stick to business. I'm going to stick to business tonight too. But I wanted to come in and talk to everybody. I wanted to tell you, I think, and this is my opinion, I think that these suspects in Summer's case has pretty much told Summer's story. That's my opinion. I think Ali knows that these evil beings have told this baby story, right? They ain't held nothing back. They pretty much gave up all the info to everything. Every last one of them. And you know who's in on it. You don't even have to think about, who these suspects are. You don't have to even think about, if they're in on it or not. Because you just know. You just know by the information that they've been putting forth, right? You just know it. And I'm going to give you some examples of that tonight.
Do you think that Stacy Slade was actually the fake Fed? I think that there's a person that somebody stole her identity. Exactly. Because there's a real woman by that name in that real area that died. And that's how you can call a funeral home. And see, I had Stacy Slade. I had a name, and there was actually a memorial video up by her family on YouTube. And she died not long before Sarah passed.
Right there. Right there. That lets us know that Jody Sue's got, she's got hands in it, right? She's got hands in it. She's talking about somebody else passing away. And she says this person passed away, right there at the time Summer passed away. So she's telling us, that, yeah, I know what happened. I know Summer's no longer with us. I know this child's deceased. Well, if you ain't got your dirty hands in it, you couldn't have said this, right? You couldn't have made this statement. She admits that she has knowledge of Summer's death, right? There you go. There you go. And that ain't my opinion. That's her statement that tells us that. Right here it is. Let me play it again.
Our family on YouTube, and she died not long before Summer passed.
And she died not long before Summer passed. Not long before Summer passed. Just get rid of her. Because I already made my point with that one, right? Let's go to number 2. Absolutely, Rhonda. Bingo. Bingo.
I have said this since the beginning to people that made a difference.
And who made a difference? Because you didn't talk to law enforcement. Who made a difference, Andy? Because you didn't talk to law enforcement. Matter of fact, you called law enforcement up and said, do you want to talk to me? Do you need to talk to me? And we heard good old Pruitt say, no. No, we don't want to talk to you. And you had never talked to him before. Because he would have said, we already talked to you, Andy. But he didn't say we already talked to you, Andy. He said, we don't need to talk to you. And you said yourself that law enforcement didn't talk to you. Right? Andy said, no, they didn't talk to me. Jody Sue tried to say that law enforcement talked to everybody. But Andy said, no, they didn't talk to me. He even called them up to see if they wanted to talk to him. They said, no, don't want to talk to you. So who is that person that made a difference? Because it sure to hell wasn't law enforcement. So, who mattered that you said this to? Who mattered? I think the person that mattered was Don and Candace Wells. I think on June the 14th, down at the end of the property, you guys were discussing it because you've already discussed it before that. I think you discussed it, that open grave, and how easy it would have been to get old chatty boy to go over there, since he's one of the grave diggers and related to the other ones, to go over there and put that child down in it. I think you felt it was a brilliant idea, and I think Don and Candace thought it was a very brilliant idea as well. That's my opinion. And I believe it was a brilliant idea until you opened your mouth about it. Right? They always say people tell on themselves, right? Your worst enemy is your own tongue. Right? There you go. But I think we know who mattered. And I knew when he said this, he said it before. Right? Because it was definitely rehearsed. It was rehearsed. It had been said before that. He said it because he was able to say it so well. And the only way people say something so well is when they've said it before. There you go.
That I've told people about having the dream that I've, in the open grave. It's been told. It's not a lie. And I have heard my whole life that the best time to get rid of somebody is when there's an open grave. The dude was buried on what day? The 18th?
There you go. Yes, he was.
Okay, so 3 days after Summer went missing, they buried that dude. Do you think they dug the grave the day that Summer went missing? I'm saying it was dug between the day the dude died and the day Summer went missing, the 11th.
Correct. That's what I'm talking about. Right there is what I'm talking about. When you remember when someone died, and you remember right when they're buried, and you remember all the shit in between, that means you had your eyes on that gravesite for a reason. For a reason. You don't take that much interest in someone's funeral if you ain't got reason to, right? And he ain't even related to this man. He's not nothing to this man. So it ain't because it's his good family that passed away. It ain't, it ain't like his Uncle Joe, right? Or Aunt Martha. He had no reason to remember him when someone passed away and when they were buried and when the grave's going to be dug in between. He had no reason to even care. But he did. And the only reason he would have had to care like this is if his hands was dirty, as well as Jody Sue's, and what happened across the road over there at 110 Ben Hill, right? That's my opinion. I'm going to keep it.
Not if she went over there on the 15th when Candace left at some point in time off that fucking hill, took her.
Oh, he knows she left off that fucking hill because he's the one that texted her, it's done. It's done, Candace. Right? He texted her, it's done, when she was meeting up with Chad. That it's done means meet up with Chad, because what's done is ready for Summer to be put into, right? Makes perfect sense to me. Perfect sense to me.
Over there, maybe she went to Fred's and Fred helped her. If it was,
Oh, she went to Fred's and he knows it. She went to Fred's and he knows it, and he knows why. Right? Yes, he does.
on the 15th, all she would have had to do is go over there and dig down just a little bit more, put her in there, cover her back up. When they brought the vault in a few days before they buried the dude, the concrete vault.
Oh, so he knows the dude got a vault. He knows there's a vault down there. See, you don't have to have a vault in a cemetery like that. That's, that's preference. But he knew this dude got a vault. Whoa. Something to think about right there. Something to think about.
Would have been set on top of it, and nobody would have known no different. And we know who dug the graves. We know all that shit. So I don't think nobody would have paid any attention to if she was done in there the day of the 15th.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. All true. My opinion, that shows more dirty hands. More dirty hands. As I said, these suspects are telling Summer's story right out their own mouths. Right out their own mouths. Let's listen to this one.
I want to keep doing me so I can do my boys. And yeah, Summer will always be here with me, no matter what anybody says.
And I don't like saying this, and I don't want to say this at all, but I have to put her on the side and worry about the boys because they're still here and still living and still in foster care. And
my boys are still here and still living. My boys are still here and still living. I gotta put Summer on the side. Right? Gotta put Summer on the side.
Did somebody go into the store, or did you go through drive-through again?
Drive-through again.
And where are you sitting at this point?
The same. Well, I was sitting in the middle because she was the person that was wet, and so
She was the person that was wet. I was sitting in the middle because she was the person that was wet.
she was the person that was wet, and so she had a pillow under her.
Got it. So she
was the one wet. She had a pillow under her. That right there lets you know that Summer wasn't dressed like this picture, was she? She wasn't dressed in this outfit after swimming because she was cold and Mommy was doing the righteous thing by putting her in another, this beautiful outfit so she wouldn't be cold from swimming. No. She was laying against that driver's side back door, soaking wet on a pillow. Summer wasn't seen at Walgreens. She wasn't seen at Sonic. She wasn't seen at the store. That's why law enforcement said, why it took you 4.5 hours to call us? Because there was no activity of Summer inside that car at any of those places. That's why. That's common sense. And she wasn't in this outfit. She wasn't in this. And their next stop was where? Hunter's house. At Hunter's house. The only stop they made between the grocery store where Summer was wet on the pillow and Candace's house on Ben Hill Road was Hunter's house. The only place they stopped. And the video was taken before they got to Ben Hill Road. The video was taken after they left the grocery store and right before they got home. And the only place they stopped that Summer could have been dressed in this outfit was Hunter's house. If Summer was soaking wet on a pillow in the back seat, laying against the driver's side door, when they went to the grocery store, and she all of a sudden was in this outfit in the back seat of the vehicle, propped up on milk jugs, right before they got home on Ben Hill Road, then that means she had to be dressed in between the grocery store and the video, which puts her at Hunter's house. And Allison had video cameras that disappeared, just like all the other video cameras that were placed on June the 15th, 2021. The video cameras that supposedly placed at Jody Sue's gone. The video cameras that supposedly Fred Hill had, gone. Video cameras that Allison had, gone. Now, I don't know if Jody Sue, well, she must have had video cameras because she posted some pictures of a camera picking a man and a dog walking up the road, but it was not Mr. Dobbs. It wasn't Jackie Dobbs. I don't know who that man was that her video camera caught. I kind of believe that it was probably one of them weirdos that was hanging up on Ben Hill Road. That's my opinion. Because it definitely wasn't Jackie Dobbs. But those cameras disappeared. On June 15th, no cameras rolling. Now, Allison definitely had cameras, and they weren't rolling either. They were not rolling. Now, Fred Hill, my God, he lies so much, I don't know what to believe and what not to believe when it comes to Fred Hill, right? I just don't know. Yeah, his footage supposedly disappeared as well. It's like all the cameras disappeared June 15th, which is very, very odd, but it tells you, it tells a story within itself. It tells the story of all of these people are connected. They're connected into this evilness. This one little girl's case, they're all connected to it. That's what it tells us. But Hunter plainly states that Summer was wet.
Well, I was sitting in the middle because she was the person that was wet, and so she had a pillow under her.
Got it.
She was the person wet with the pillow under her after swimming. So they did not dress her. They didn't dress her. Absolutely not. It's bullshit. That goes to show you dirty hands, right? Right here, December 28th, Don Wells decides to put this on his Facebook. Human trafficking, illegal when done privately, profitable when done by the state. Illegal when done privately, right? So, what is he telling us? What is he telling us? You tell me what you think of this. I like to hear your opinion. What do you believe Don Wells is saying when he put this on his Facebook? What do you feel this comment meant? I think Don Wells was saying, this is my opinion. I think Don Wells was saying, what he was doing would have put him in prison, right? He had to worry about going to prison. I mean, I believe that's why Summer had to be, destroyed, is to keep Don and Candace and Grandis outside the prison gate instead of inside of it. That's my opinion. I think what he's saying is, what I was doing was illegal. But I believe that, when the state takes in children, they do the same thing. They do the same thing with these kids. No, they don't, Don Wells. No, they don't. When the state takes in children, they place these children in a home where they got clean beds, they got toothbrushes, Don Wells. They actually have toothbrushes and toothpaste. They learn to comb their hair, take a bath, comb their hair, brush their teeth, get into clean pajamas, a clean, nice, clean bed, and rest well without itching and scratching and getting ate up with lice and scabies and God only knows what else, right? They don't have ringworm and infantago and all of that bullshit. These kids actually lay down and they actually get a good night's rest because nothing is itching or hurting or bothering them. And that's a big damn relief from being in homes like yours. Okay? These children actually get 3 meals a day. They get up in the morning and they get breakfast and they get lunch and they get dinner and they get snacks. They actually get to participate at school in baseball, in wrestling, in all the activities that go on inside the school. They get to be a part of that. These foster parents actually take the time to put these kids into all the activities and take them there and support them and go out and have pizza afterwards. They're in what they call a real family unit. And they're getting well taken care of, unlike they were getting taken care of on Ben Hill Road. They actually get to go to bed and feel safe, Don Wells. They feel safe in their bed, unlike they did at your place. They feel safe. Nobody's trafficking nobody. But it's nice to know that you understand that it was illegal to be doing that. It's nice to know. Because when Summer's found and her story is out there, the truth is on the table, we will be able to bring this back, Don Wells, and let the court know that you fully understood that it was illegal to be touching or allowing other people to touch your children. Right? And that ain't my words. That's Jody Sue's words. That Andy was supplying the sedatives, right? He was supplying the stuff to sedate not just Summer, but other little girls on your property to be touched. That's called trafficking. That's called trafficking. And yes, Don Wells, it's illegal, but it is not what CPS in the state does. Okay? Matter of fact, I don't know any fucking body other than sick, twisted human beings like you and Candace that would do such evilness to a child. But you got a history of it. You got a history in Utah, you got a history in Arkansas, and you got a history in Tennessee now. That ain't my opinion. That's the damn truth. We got witnesses from Arkansas, witnesses from Utah, witnesses in Tennessee. We've got a 911 call in Tennessee telling it all. We don't even need the witnesses there. We got the 911 call that tells exactly what the hell was going on. Right? So, and we got you right out of your own mouth saying you sold a $5,000 tape of your boss, doing evil stuff to your daughter, Summer, out of your own damn mouth. You and Candace laughing and laughing and laughing about it. That's called trafficking, right? And yes, it's very much illegal. Just saying. Just saying. But I closed my case because I've already proved that they're all these suspects. All these suspects are telling Summer's story. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't like this story. This is a story that should not have ever been told. It should have not ever happened to been told. That's true. That is true, Deputy. I so agree. I so agree. Yeah, the oldest boy is now old enough. He's old enough to be emancipated, right? But he don't want that. He doesn't want that. You know, it took a long time for the older boy to see and understand the damage that Don and Candace done to him and his siblings. It took him a long time to understand that they was grooming him for a very crappy life in the future. He did not understand, you know, that what his parents was doing was harming him. It was not helping him. Right? And, you know, what parents introduce their children to illegal substances? Who introduces any child to illegal substances? Who does that? What grown adult does stuff like that? I mean, it's not okay. It is not okay to introduce your children into illegal substances. It is not okay to brainwash your children into believing they got a good life on dirty sheets and no food. None of what these people were doing was okay. It just wasn't okay. And we have one child completely missing, and we have a lot of others destroyed mentally, physically, spiritually, just destroyed. We have children from Utah completely destroyed. Yeah, they might be adults now. They may be adults, but that child is still in them. That child is still in each one of those women that Don Wells mentally, physically, and spiritually destroyed. There are people from Arkansas that are destroyed. And there is children from Tennessee destroyed. Some are totally and utterly, completely destroyed. Why? Why? Because Don Wells felt that he had a right to do whatever he wanted to these people, to these humans. He felt that he had some type of right to do what he did not want anyone to ever do to him. He did it because he felt he could. He got away with doing it for so long. He just felt that he could, and he did. And he will if another opportunity arises. Because people like him do not change. A snake sheds its skin, but it is still a snake. Right? And that's just how it is. And Don Wells loves doing what he does. He loves doing what he does. Yeah, Can said she was going to take in foster kids. They wouldn't give her, I'm going to be honest with you, they wouldn't give her a dog, let alone a child. Trust and believe me. Trust and believe me. I wish animal control was like CPS. I wish animal control could take away dogs after they know a human had abused so many in the past. I wish they had the control to go in and seize any other pets that people like Don and Candace get. There should be a law for pets as well as humans to be seized away from families like Don and Candace. They should not even be allowed to have an animal, let alone a child, right? Mary said Don was violating animals all the way back in Utah, all the way back in his youth. He was abusing and violating animals. That is disgusting. That is definitely a mental issue, a very severe one. And why his dad did not seek help for him, I don't know. I don't know. I think there's probably people locked away more sane than Don Wells and what he was doing. Just saying. That's my opinion. Right? Absolutely. Absolutely. But I think it's important that Summer's story be told. And I appreciate these suspects telling it. I really do. I appreciate their own tongues wiggling it out. Because the more that tongue wiggles, the more of her story we are able to comprehend. And the more we can comprehend puts us a little bit closer to where she possibly is and gives us a better opportunity to find her, bring her home, and get that justice for her. So I'm very appreciative to these idiots telling the story. Amen. And that's the truth. Yeah. That's true. That's true. I agree, Chris. I agree. I'm going to tell you, we need a little bit of that UK in the US when it comes to animals. Absolutely. We really do. Italian cookie, right? We want them to wiggle that tongue. Absolutely. I hope they wiggle it even more. I hope they wiggle it more. I hope Don Wells, you know, keep posting your thoughts, Donald. Keep posting your thoughts. Because when you post your thoughts, it just lets us know how sinister you truly are, how sick in the head you truly are. You have to be sick in the head to be going after your own 4-year-old child on a 911 call, right? How disturbing was that? Help me. Help somebody. Mommy, mommy, help me. No help. No help. Somebody, anybody, please, please help me. No child, no 4-year-old little girl should ever be that scared, that afraid, that traumatized by anyone. No child should ever have to endure that. And did mommy protect her? No. Mommy got a brand new vehicle, right? Mommy decided to take what she could get instead of protecting her daughter. What mother does that? What mother does that? I don't know. I don't know. Because I'm not that type of mother. Don Wells could have rode that big red apple where the sun don't shine, right? He could have drove it right where the sun don't shine. And that's what I'd have told him. I'd have said, your ass is going to prison. What the hell do you think you was a-doing? Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. But I'm going to tell you something. That sick son of a bitch wouldn't have had my daughter in a shower. That's off limits. That's off limits. My children need baths. I'll bath them. Right? My 4-year-old child needs a bath. I'll bath it. I'm going to tell you what its daddy's ass needs to do. Its daddy's ass needs to get out there and make some money to put food in the refrigerator. First, get a damn new refrigerator. Get a damn new refrigerator. Get a refrigerator that's workable and big enough to hold some food. And then fill it up so the kids could eat. And if you can't get a refrigerator big enough to hold some food and actually keep it cold, then your ass don't need to be around in the first place, right? Your ass don't need to be there. I mean, that's a man's job. A man's job is to make sure that there's a working stove and a refrigerator full of food for his family. He don't need to be bathing with the kids. He needs to be working that ass and providing for his kids. It ain't like Candace was out there working that ass to bring home some bacon. Candace was sitting on that ass, right? She was sitting on that ass along with Granny up there, sitting on her ass too. Two women up there sitting on their ass, and a 4-year-old child needs to be in a shower with a grown-ass man. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? What is a 4-year-old child doing in a shower with a grown-ass man when there's two women to take care of these children? There's two women to give these children, put these children in a bathroom, in a shower, and give them clean clothes and a towel. There's two women, not one, two, that could be in there giving those children clean clothes and towels and making sure that they're clean and they're dressed and their beds are clean and that the refrigerator's full and that, and food is cooked. Two women sitting on that ass doing nothing all day, have nothing else to do but take care of that house and those children. So what the hell was a child doing in a shower with a grown-ass man? You tell me, because I don't know. I don't know. I personally don't know any grown-ass man that would allow a 4-year-old child in the shower with them. I don't know one. I know that grown men, when they go into the bathroom, they lock the door. And nobody's getting in until they are bathed and they are dressed and coming out, because they know children are in the house. They know children are in the house and they lock the door and take a private bath because they don't want their children seeing that. Mothers take care of everything, right? They get up in the morning, they shower before they wake up the kids. Usually mom gets up, she gets a shower, she gets dressed, she gets ready for the day, she wakes up the kids, she makes breakfast, she gets the kids situated for school. Or if it's summertime, if she works, she gets, the babysitter takes over. Mom goes to work. Mom comes home. She makes dinner, right? She does all the things that needs to be done. She makes sure that the kids get their baths. They brush their teeth. They get to bed. She does all of that. And if mom's going to take a shower at night, she does it after the kids are asleep, right? The kids go to bed, mom's tired, but she goes in, she takes her shower, and then she goes to bed. Adult people don't let their children be seeing anything like that. When they make sure they're dressed. They're always dressed. Mom and dad's always dressed around the children, right? Kids don't see that stuff. In a good, respectable home, kids do not see any of that trash because parents keep that stuff out of the sight of their children. They got morals. They have morals. You don't have to bath with your kids. Get your kids bathed, dried, dressed, right? Put them to bed. Put them to bed. I don't understand. I don't understand, the 911 call. There shouldn't have ever been one. I don't understand. The wells have no moral compass, It don't, yeah, you're right, Chris. It don't exist. It's non-existent. Absolutely. I don't know how these people think. I don't even want to. I don't even want to, you guys. It scares the hell out of me. It scares the hell out of me to try to figure out what makes these people tick. I don't even want to know. And that's the truth. I don't want to know for fear that you might become like them. Right? You might become like them. If you could figure out what the fuck makes these people tick, you may become like them. And I don't want to become like them. I thank God every second of every day that I'm not like those sick people. Every second of every day, I thank Him for making me who I am. A person that is nothing like these evil beings in this world today. They're sick. They're demented. Something ain't right with them. They're so far from fucking normal. It's unbelievable. Right? It is what it is. I mean, it is one thing, it is one thing to act uneducated, to act like, you ain't got no sense or brains. But it's another thing to actually not have any, right? There's a big difference there. And these people don't have any. It ain't an act, baby. It's the truth. Oh, yeah. Don Wells and Candace are both self-centered, self-seeking, self-absorbed. Absolutely. It's all about them, all about what they want. And that's all they're out to get. They're out to get what they want. And they don't give a damn the price that anyone else has to pay for their fucking wants and their fucking desires to destroy others. They don't care. Absolutely. I think that Ben Hill Road was really an evil, sinister place before what happened to Summer. But I think it got even more evil and sinister after what happened to Summer. Put a 1 in the chat if you agree. I think it got even worse after Summer went missing. I think it was really, what I'm saying is, they hadn't ever destroyed anybody to save their asses in the past. But I think once they destroyed this little girl and seen, you know, that they was, you know, going to get away with it, because, you know, they had nothing to lose. They had nothing to lose. It was save Summer or save themselves. And they saved themselves. And even at saving themselves, they still knew there was a big chance of going to prison, right? But that's the chance they were willing to take, because they knew the other way they was definitely going to prison. This way, they were just taking a chance of going to prison. And they'd rather take a chance than to just go to prison any old way to save her. And I believe that once they destroyed her, and the fear, you know, time went by and they weren't going to prison, and law enforcement wasn't being stiff enough, and they wasn't doing what needed to be done to put these people in prison for, you know, the sinister stuff that they did. And everybody could see. I mean, it's not, you know, anybody's opinion. It's damn fact. It's fact that they were telling law enforcement where Summer wasn't, which, you know, should have told law enforcement, if, hey, these people will say where she ain't, then they know where she is. And, you know, they're sitting there telling all of the stuff. You got Judy Sue telling that, you know, they were sedating these kids up and having them touched. You have Don Wells saying, I sold a big, you know, I actually sold a video of my boss doing, you know, I mean, these guys are just, they're telling exactly what they was up there doing and what led to this little girl, you know, have to be destroyed the way she was. And nobody's doing nothing about it. Nobody's doing shit about it. And they're getting more and more brave about, you know, about bringing this stuff out and saying it and not caring, right? Not caring. Because they feel, you know, they're untouchable, they're unstoppable, untouchable, whatever, even with law enforcement. Law enforcement ain't got no ass anymore. They don't have no ass anymore. They don't do what needs to be done to these criminals that do evil stuff. It's almost like they're against the victim and for the criminals, right? The more evil you are, the better life you live. The righteous get prosecuted, not the unrighteous in the world we live in today. And it's wrong. It's wrong. But it's the way it is. And the Bible says that's the way it will be. And here we are. Here we are. And once they got away with what they done, I think they became worse. I think that they became worse. Because Allison ends up gone. And her friend, you know, Leslie, ends up unalived. And Marlena's dad ends up unalived. And I can just keep talking and talking and talking. But a couple, you know, of YouTubers, a couple of YouTubers mixed up with them, comes up unalived as well. Hell, Candace is at the house holding the lady's hand instead of getting her help. Well, she's passing away. And then she's out there selling all the lady's stuff and eating her food up and staying with her husband and driving the woman's car after she's gone. Right? I'm going to tell you something. These motherfuckers got worse. They got worse. because they feel, you know why people like that do what they do? Because they feel like they can. They feel like they can. And you got to show them they can't. Law enforcement's supposed to be showing them. Our court system, we pay law enforcement and we pay our court systems to show these motherfucking criminals that no, you can't. You can't be breaking the law. You can't be doing evil in our society. No, you can't. But they're not doing their job, right? And I tell you what, you better put on your suit of armor and you better put on your steel-toe boots and you better stand up and be ready. Because this kind of evil is going at other people. At some point, it's going to come at you. And you see how law enforcement handles it. Right? You already know how they're handling it. Ain't nobody going to save you but yourself. That's just how it is. Ain't nobody going to save you but yourself. When these evil people, they think they can, you got to show them they can't. You got to say, no, motherfucker, you can't. You ain't going to. I ain't 5 years old. I'm not some feeble-minded human being that's going to let you walk into my home, hang around with my family, and mess me over. Only keep your ass out there where you belong, and you better not even come around where I'm at. Because I don't put up with evilness. I don't like it. I don't put up with it. And you know fucking what? I don't have to. Right? I don't have to. It ain't going to. And that's how you stay safe. You stay safe by keeping that shit where it belongs. Right? Where it belongs. On Ben Hill fucking Road. That's what happens, Chris. That's what happens in today's world. You know, you can't stop. You can't stop what, has done been put in stone. You can't stop it. The Bible, Revelations, it tells you in the last days, righteousness will be seen, right, as evil, and evil will be seen as righteousness. It's just the way it is. And that's what's happening right now. Right now, the evil people are getting away with all their sinister shit. And the righteous people are being the ones being prosecuted. You call law enforcement out, they don't go looking for the suspect, for the person, the perpetrator. They don't go looking for them. You call them out and they'll be looking at you. They'll be looking at you. They want all your information. They want to run you. Well, the fucking suspect gets away. They're busy sticking their nose in your business instead of finding the person that you called them about. It's just what the fuck happens today. That's the big change. And it deters. It deters the taxpayers from even calling law enforcement anymore. You don't want to call them because you know when you do, they're going to have their nose stuck up your backside instead of going and sticking it where it needs to be stuck in the criminals' asses, right? It's just what it is. And that ain't my opinion. It's true. It's the truth. You know it. I know it. We all know it. So what are we paying them for? What are tax dollars paying for? We're paying to be harassed. We're paying to be harassed when we need law enforcement. We're paying to get harassed. We're paying to be deterred from calling them because they don't give a damn what criminals are doing. They just care about surviving and getting that paycheck, right? They're more worried about living another day than cleaning up your streets. What happened? What happened to all the brave men and women? What happened to all the brave men and women? I'm going to tell you what happened. We ain't got none. We ain't got none. They ain't brave anymore. Everybody wants paid to do nothing. To do nothing. They want to use excuses. They want to use excuses, you know. You want protection? You want protection? Call Don Wells, right? Ain't that what they say? Ain't that, you know, I think I've heard one of our politicians say, you know, if you want help, call a Fred Hill, right? They think it's funny. They think it's funny. You know, they talk about defunding law enforcement. And then law enforcement says, you know, well, ain't gonna run out here. We've caught these criminals and stuff, and we take them to court. Then the court turns them loose, and that deters us from doing our job. Why are we chasing them? Why are we, you know, why are we doing all of this? Wearing our body out to chase somebody down just to see them get turned loose. So they, you know, so they don't bother to chase. They don't bother to chase the criminal anymore. They use the court system to not do their job. Now they're using, you know, you want to defund us? Well, you take care, you protect yourself. See how that works out for you, right? See how that works out for you. Well, it'll work out pretty well for people, for humans that ain't afraid to stand up and protect themselves. It'll work out really well. I don't know about people too afraid to protect themselves, and it won't work out too well. But if you're not scared to stand up, protect what's yours, your life, your children, your family, then, you know, it won't be so bad. But that's what it's coming down to. But hey, I've always heard that you better be doing that anyway. Even if you call law enforcement, you better protect yourself until they get there, right? Till they get there, it's all on you to protect yourself and your family. And you got to be doing it. You got to be doing it. Yeah, that's true, Bridget. That's true. That's true. You know, there's people locked behind bars right now that, we're locked behind bars right now just because, um, they didn't do nothing really super bad, They just, had some goody good stuff or whatever, and they're locked up for a long time. And then you have people, you know, who totally destroy a 5-year-old little girl, and in my opinion, running free, right? Probably, looking and searching and hoping for another child to do the same exact thing to. I mean, when they were doing it in Utah and they were doing it in Arkansas and they were doing it in Tennessee, do you think they're going to quit doing it? Do you believe that they're going to quit doing it when they've been doing it so long? Yes or no? Yes or no? My answer is no. No, they're not going to quit doing it. Absolutely not. They're just waiting. They're biding their time, right? They're waiting and they're biding their time. That's what they're doing. Absolutely. They're waiting and biding time. And hell, they didn't really even wait. Did you see them with those cameras? Matter of fact, if I'm in here tomorrow night, I'm going to bring that video in. I'm going to bring it in. Because you know what? There's nothing like the good old reminder. Nothing like refreshing our memories, right? To how sinister these people truly are. So I'll bring it in and refresh our memories upon them. Because they didn't really wait. We got a video where they was following little children, right? Not too long ago. Following behind little children and video recording them. Remember that? Remember them going down through there and zooming in on those little girls? And then those guys came out and Don deviated, took a immediate fucking turn to the right, and Candace dumbass kept, didn't get the memo until Don's like, "What's this over here?" And she's like, "Oh shit, yeah." And she deviated as well. Remember that? Oh yeah, I got the video and I'm going to bring it to the table just to refresh everybody's memories come tomorrow night if we're still here, right? If we're still here. I got to say God willing, because you know what? If God's not willing, then I won't be here, right? But if he is willing, I'm going to bring that to the table, because you know what? We cannot, for Summer's sake, we cannot forget. We cannot forget how evil these people are. We cannot forget Summer and what she needs. She needs found. She needs brought home. She needs justice. And I'm going to tell you, we're her army. We're her voice. She has no voice. She has no voice at all right now. We got to be her voice. And by God, we're going to be. And I'm going to tell you something. 4.5 years later, law enforcement's asses are activated. Trust and believe me, they are activated right now. They've got shit going behind the scenes. They've got stuff going. And I'm going to tell you what, I hope it's enough to start prosecuting some asses. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. I hope it's enough to start prosecuting some evil asses and get them out of our society before this happens again. Amen. That's what I hope. But anyway, I wanted to come in. I wanted to bring this to the table. I think it's very important to understand that her story is being told right out of the horse's mouth. It's being told. And I'm sure there's plenty more to come. And I'm also sure that this case will be solved. Maybe not today, maybe not even tomorrow. But I'm going to tell you what, I know there's enough prayers going up that at some point God's going to answer. And when he does, this case is going to be solved. Little Summer's going to be found, brought home. Justice will get served on her behalf. God bless her. God bless her. No child should have ever been done like that. None. I'm going to tell you, we weep. We weep for that baby. All of us, every last one of us, have wept for Summer. And we are still weeping. And we will continue to weep. We will continue to weep for that child. Because we loved her the way her parents should have. We care about her the way they should have. Because we have what them bastards don't. It's called kindness, love, and caring. It's called blessings from above. Remember to thank God that you have those blessings. Because evil fucks like that don't. They probably wish they did, but they don't. And that's what sets us aside from them. PG's going to get out of here, but it was beautiful to come in, see you guys, talk with you, spend some time with you, because I truly miss you. I truly miss you guys. And hopefully we'll be here again tomorrow night. Good night, you guys. God bless. Much love.